Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you tonight. I'm Sean. This is Rimshots with Sean, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk, which you can't see. My friend Raquel in Los Angeles sent me some info on these folks. Bonny and James Freimuth from the band Innocence Torn. Welcome, and welcome by two.
Thank you for having us.
And we had to put two screens. This is our backup here because we were having a little bit of an internet thing. So we're going to have some fun with it. So welcome. Oh, so we're going for it now. Here we go. No safety net, no nothing.
No nothing.
You can't break it. So while Bonnie's trying to get the second shot going, James, tell me about this band. I love the old school meets new school. I love that kind of vibe. Tell me about your band.
Well, there's quite a history behind Bonny and myself. I was actually her first love. And when she first met me, I was playing in a band called Crystal at the time, and I was like 16 years old. So the metal was always a thing. I took her to like Motley Crue, Whitesnake, and those kind of concerts. Turned her on to what was that band? Pretty Maids. Yeah, I was, and nobody knew really who they were. I was like one of the first guys to get into Metallica, and everyone was at the time listening to Poison. I'm like, you got to check these guys out, and like Megadeth and like that. I actually saw them make one of their first concerts with Alice Cooper. Their PA system blew out, and he was complaining about their cheap Japanese equipment. You look at him now, it's hard to believe, but it was a phenomenal concert. It was at a high school, and they're just pretty much sitting their head, but it was just great. It was great. I've been a musician my whole life, and she was an appreciator of music, play drums and stuff, and I guess to get back to the question, over time, she had a pretty well-to-do magazine called Wild Child Magazine, and she would promote bands. And we ran into each other, but she had a different last name, so I didn't know who she was. I just thought, well, she's the hot chick that runs the magazine, and she'd be there. I was in a band called the Shatterbrains, and she was doing an article on it, and we shook hands, and there was like a connection, but nothing really came out of it because I was married to someone else at the time. But it was like we held hands and we didn't let go, and it's like there was a definite connection. And many moons later, we hooked back up on Facebook, and got to talking and everything. She knew who I was all along. I had no idea it was her. And she sprung it on me after 2 weeks or so of very long talks. I'm that guy. I was that first love that you left, and I was like, oh God, no, it's not. You don't understand. And it's like, oh no, I understand. But it turned out all good. Needless to say, we're married now, and
long story short. Actually, what happened was we were driving down the freeway, and in this moment came on Horror.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm just going to belt it out. And I belted out in front of him, and he literally pulled over on the side of the road, and he was like, you can sing? And I was like, yeah. So we just decided at that point, we really wanted to do something with not just the connection, but also we both still have that, kid in us that went to those concerts, you know what I mean? And there was something very much about, it wasn't just, their music. It wasn't just about.
There's a lot of hooks and high energy,
and
they had look, and I love new music now,
but
I like to try and slam it together and make it modern because there was that energy I feel like has kind of gotten lost. You get these hooks or this or that, and then there's no freaking solo, and I know, one moment this is cool, the next minute it's not cool, but I also remember going to guitar, workshops, and I actually got to meet Les Paul and the lead guitarist of the Grim Reaper, and he told me, he goes, music is very cyclic. If you run and you try to play what's current, in a month it's going to be something else. You got to play from the heart, and I never forgot that. So I've been a metalhead my whole life, and I've never veered from that. If there's something I thought was cool, I played it because it's a badass song. And that was kind of like with us doing Lack of Communication. Who the hell doesn't like Lack of Communication? People crap themselves when you play it. Not necessarily a hard song. It's a cool song. Right. It kicks butt. It makes you just, So that we started doing stuff like that, and then we just great chemistry as people. The band created itself, through friends and connections and weddings and so forth. Um, we just kind of made the music. There wasn't like a distinct formula. We kind of knew what we wanted. We started out doing like some covers. I had a few originals, and things have just kind of come together. Now we're sitting on a ton of original
Well,
stuff.
for me, actually, what it was okay. If I'm going to do this, I really want to bring back that feeling.
Yeah.
When you get ready to go to a concert back in the 80s, I can just remember like wanting to look perfect. Like I wanted to look the part. I wanted to feel that music. I wanted to be in that crowd of people. And somewhere along the line, sometimes I feel like we've kind of lost that. I mean, we not just did the music change, but so did the scene.
Right. Everybody like
And
in the
nobody was, like,
audience used to look
dressing
like
up.
everybody on stage.
Yeah,
everyone
and-
really got into it.
I'm glad you said that, because as you were talking, that's in the bands that I play in, I always say that, man, you got to look different, right? Like you can't look like you were just eating your chicken wings and then you get up and you play your
Right,
your-
exactly.
right? And it's almost in certain pockets, I guess, where I am, it's almost like you're a poser, but it's like, well, no, I can play. I'm not a poser. I just think that if the people are coming into a club, they deserve more for the money that they're paying.
I agree.
Yeah, you want to create an atmosphere. It's like you're coming. You want to be pulled out of reality. That was the cool thing when you look. When I was a kid looking at my idols, I knew they weren't larger in life, but there was this element that made it cool. Like Motley Crue, they were so badass. People can say all they want, but at the time, like Shout at the Devil, they were gods.
And
total gods.
There was something to be said about putting on a stage performance.
Yeah.
Looking a certain way that matches it. That's just it. It needs to match what you, not just your music, but whom you're trying to portray. It's just this big theatrics, and we're missing that so bad. So that was one of the things that I said I really wanted to bring back, was that feeling of, I'm going to a concert. I want to, I want to look the part. I want to feel the part. And for me,
we haven't been wrong. Our crowds are growing like crazy.
When we do that, though, what's awesome for me is it gives me a mode of confidence. Like I can step into my part a little bit better. It's for other people, they love the aesthetic of it. And I think it's really important to, again, what you just said, like give them that show that they're paying for, and not just stand there and do absolutely nothing in my camo shorts and, not put on a performance, because I think that it goes really hand in hand.
And I mean, I like what I like, and I like what I don't like, and it's good points. But I mean, if somebody says, "Oh man, that's a smoking band," and it's just 5 people standing up there tapping their feet, doing scales and practicing in the songs, that to me is not interesting. I want to see something blown up. I want to see a light show. I want to see fog, but I want to see good songs. And this genre of music, and just so you guys know, I am with you on this because this is a genre of music I grew up to. It's not easy music to play. Like you just don't get up on stage and have it. You have to do the work to get it to the point where it's presentable.
Agreed.
Hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, it is a lot of work, but it's so rewarding. It's so fun. I'm at my happiest. I can literally be physically unhealthy, and by the end of practice, it's like its own medicine. I actually feel younger and better every time. It doesn't matter how tired or exhausted or what it is. Once I get that guitar in my hand and we have a good rehearsal, it's just like having life shot into my veins. Now there's some times when I get off stage where it's like, where's the ibuprofen? But the costumes and stuff, and sweating off 10 pounds and can lights and nerves. Because I want to do a good performance.
I'm a drummer, so I'm to the point now. I say this to people. I don't practice because I practice because I have to at this stage in my life, right? It's to make sure that I can get up there and do 5 shows in a row, not do one and be in bed for 5 days. A lot of people don't understand that. You know what I mean?
I do.
Actually, yeah. This has been a huge topic of conversation because I think people underestimate how much being on stage takes out of a person. Right. And like we just did back-to-back shows, but I work about 54 hours a week. He does as well, and we have very physically demanding jobs.
Right.
And so for me, that following morning, I was I was grateful that I had been working all week, because if I had had a chance to sit down, I don't know if I would have gotten back up. It's not just physically draining. It can also, emotionally, you're just to a point of, oh my God, I can't believe I was able to make it through that. You have to keep yourself motivated. And it doesn't hurt that we have a hot tub either. So
Well, you need one. And here's the thing. I kind of feel, and this podcast / show was kind of, the whole thing was kind of, hey, we're sitting around a bar kind of shooting the breeze and having conversations like this. And I kind of feel that we're doing that. Isn't it cool that you can have a job? And I know you guys probably get this, where they're like, hey, did you guys do a gig last weekend? How was your gig? Like, so it's kind of like, even when you're not playing, people are kind of living their life through you and what you do.
Yeah. That's very true. We have a lot of folks that are, I think they think we do this like
non-stop,
24 hours a day.
Oh yeah. We're getting there. That's the whole plan, is to be able to just
that is
do
the entire
that.
plan.
That's why it's so rough right now, because we're like right on the edge,
We're putting a lot of our time, money, energy.
Everything. That's what it takes.
We're literally putting everything, risking everything to do what we're doing right now. And I don't think we'd have it any other way. I think anything else we were to,
but it's
to step up and be like, okay, we're willing to like give up everything we know to do what we love.
I gotta say though, it's
anything
not
else,
just,
I don't
it's
think we
not
would
just
do
us
it.
though. I gotta say, and thank. We have a lot of people that have come into, like, our band is like a family, but now we've got 2 people that are doing our merch. We've got booking agent promoters. There's a lot of people that believe in us, that are working just as hard as us.
That's true.
Behind the scenes, which it wouldn't be possible without, it's like a small little army of people that are, have the same dream. And I'm so, so, so grateful.
Oh my
It's
God,
taken me years to be able to have this and have this network of people that, have the same vision.
I think we're really blessed
it's awesome.
in that. We're really blessed, because not a lot of people, there's a lot of bands who have been out there much longer than us, that just, the support's just not there. And for whatever reason that is.
Well,
and I feel like, and I really feel like the people that we
I think people miss the business aspect, because the business part is just as important as the music. And sometimes it just takes a lot of stumbling to figure that out. And that's where you're so genius, because you doing the magazine, you get the business. I get the business, but in a different way. And you put the two of the, it's the, it's
better than Johnny.
Well, and people don't understand that aspect of it though, because I on both of my bands that I play in, I handle most of the business, and you're sitting there right up until 10 minutes before the show dealing with something. Oh, then you got to look all peppy and cool and whatever. Meanwhile, you get 1,000 things running through your head, like, did I pay the sound man? Did I do this? Did I do? And people don't understand, right? It's like, it's not the hour and a half that you're on the stage. It's the 23 hours that you're taking care of business and trying to like run your life at the same time.
Right. I find myself at work.
It's a balancing
having to because I drive for Amazon, which I don't mind saying it's one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. But I'm also having to conduct business while I'm at work, so I'll have to pull over on the side of the road, answer an email, be like, yeah, I'm right on top of that, and then 2, having to keep track of what conversation went with whom, like who did I pay, who do I need to pay next, what's, you know what I'm saying?
We're out of medium t-shirts.
I have done. We're out of medium t-shirts. Literally just got merch, and
it's gone.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, we went to my poor merch girl. I love you, Charity. God, she didn't even get to walk in the door, and when she opened it, the next thing you know, it was like a cyclone just went through, and her hair was shoveled, and she's got a grip of money in her hand, and she's like, "We don't have any merch," and so there's constantly having to keep up with, okay, where are we at? Where are we going? Having that vision, checklists really help. I mean, being organized. You gotta give props
to Katie Portland too.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Thank God for that girl.
Her spreadsheets and so forth. It's just.
Well, and it's great having those folks, right? And I want to say too, while people are watching this, it took us a little while to kind of get this organized because we're on opposite coasts and what have you, and I just punched a snare drum there. I'm sorry about that. You might hear that in the background. And lo and behold, I've got the paid version of Zoom, and it's telling me that I've only got 10 minutes left. So we're just going to run this as one segment, and It's going to be awesome. You guys are playing the Whiskey a Go Go. No, I was corrected. I think Bonnie, you said the 7th of July.
Yes.
Before we started recording, you were telling me how you got that show. Just tell our viewers how that came about.
Well, originally, I had one big dream, really, and might sound silly, but I was born and raised to want to play at the Whiskey a Go Go. I've always known I wanted to be a musician, and so I got with a really amazing booking agent, and just out of the blue, I'm like, hey, it's my bucket list. Can you get me to the Whiskey a Go Go? And it took less than 4 days, and he comes back and he says, I've got a show for you. And I'm like, shut up. And now, actually, so Nemophilia from Japan was coming over here, and they were being signed. They were having an after private party, and they asked us to play. Yeah. Long story short, something got mixed up where they had put us with a bunch of rap artists, and the booking agent wasn't really like, hey, that's not really vibing. They're not going to fit into that crowd. Can you find them something better? And they're like, well, we've got a show with OTEP. And I heard that, and I was like, can you just say that one more time? Did you say OTEP? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, we're in. And he was like, okay, fine. Do you want to play second and third? And I'm like, I'm going to play third. And so lo and behold, it was almost as if like we kind of stumbled into it in a way, because we thought we were doing one thing, and then it just wound up to be a much bigger gift, I think. So we're really excited.
The same thing with the Winger and Warrant show that we got in August.
Yeah.
So that I'm actually really looking forward to that. We got it's a large event that's out in the Dalles, Oregon, where we'll be playing with both Winger and Warrant. I know that's like 80s, but they're great bands. Kip Winger's a phenomenal musician, so I'm really looking forward.
All that's old is new again. Like this genre of music it had a little pause while everybody kind of wanted to tell everybody how terrible their lives were while they were being successful, and now it's back, right? And when you go there, don't forget to go up the street around the corner and see the Motley House. It's about 2.5 blocks up the road there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the house that you heard all the stories about where they threw people through walls and.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool. And you'll be very surprised because you're going to go, geez, I thought it was like grosser than what it's actually pretty nice now. But anyway, sorry. So you guys are working hard. And again, I don't want to rush this. What I'll do, guys, is now that we figured this out, we're going to keep this as a segment. Maybe what we can do is we can organize another segment, because I feel we're kind of the same vintage, and I think we can get 3 or 4 parts in this. Where do we find you guys? I mean, I know how I found you, but I only heard about you when Raquel sent me the info, and I'm out here way out in the East Coast of Canada. How do my viewers find you guys?
Well, we do have a website where you can also find our EPK, and that is going to be at www.innocencetorn.com. You can find us on anywhere online that you download music. So you can find us on Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can find us iTunes, just about anywhere. Facebook. You can also find us on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're also on TikTok, because we're kind of characters. We like to have a lot of fun. So basically, you can pretty much find us anywhere online that you would normally go to look for music. But if they want to know a little bit more about us and check out some of our merch and maybe a little bit of background, and you can buy our EP, and then you'll know about all of the shows and everything we have.
Yeah, buy that EP, because you know what? Those tunes are great. And I'm not just saying this because I'm on this interview with you. I mean, again, Raquel sent me a lot of stuff that's been great. I liked it, and I want to throw this out kind of as we wrap, because, and I don't mean rap like the show that you got mixed up on or anything like that, just trying to be funny, haha. But Bonnie, your views on what's going on with females in music now? Like, so it kind of seemed like females are almost like a backseat thing. Now you got Lizzie Hale, you got Pretty Reckless, you got all these bands that are in Europe that just seem to be going crazy. Yeah. What do you think is going on that maybe women have kind of sort of don't have to worry about that nonsense they had to deal with in the past, and it's a level playing field?
This is a question I was hoping that you would ask me, because the truth is when I grew up, our idols were like few far in between. What did we have? Like Vixen, Lita Ford, if you were into like Pat Benatar or, Joan Jett, it was very, very, very limited. And I think that part of that was it was a very male-driven industry. Not only were, the A&R reps men, most fronts were men, but now as you start to look around, I think what's going on is that these gals have opened up a door for other females to have that dream again. And it's amazing to me because we have another local band here, Beautiful Skeletons, and that's a female-fronted band, and they right now are just taking off.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot to be said that we didn't get to be heard before, and now that we are, I think we're coming out roaring, and it's an amazing thing to have incredible musicians like James and our drummer Chris and Walter, our bass player. It's really kind of eye-opening to me that these gentlemen would want to be in a band that's female-fronted. You know what I'm saying?
You sound like Janis Joplin. That's awesome.
I get told that a lot.
It's
like
inspiring.
Her, but it's really flattering. I mean, but at the same point too, there's lots more to me than just Janis Joplin. But I mean, if you think about it, in the 60s and 70s, females did a lot of music. And I think it was just something in the 80s where it was excess and a whole lot of, out partying and that kind of thing, that whole scene. I think that it really deterred women from wanting to maybe be in it as much as it was it was an unheard of thing. And now, again, like I said, that I feel like women are finally coming out and their voices are being heard, and it's phenomenal.
You know what? That's a great answer. And again, I don't want to rush this. And what I'm going to do is when the little clock, I'm going to do the end, and then we'll see if it gets cut off. If you guys don't mind, what I'd like to do is send you another link if you guys have time. If you don't, that's fine.
Look at that.
And what we'll do is we'll just chat to set up the next one quickly. But in terms of what you guys are doing, I like it. I mean, it's you have that theatrical vibe, like Lizzie Borden meets Alice Cooper meets all these different sorts of things. I think it's great that you guys are out there putting a show on, because I'm used to going to bars and people up there in golf shirts, and it's not fun. And they might be amazing musicians, but again, you got to see a little bit more for your buck, right?
Agreed. And you know what? And at the same point too, if we're being paid, they're not paying me to just stand there and smile, and be pretty. That's not what I'm here for.
Everybody else.
And the truth is I know that people work really, really hard. Money is not as easily, came by as we did a couple years ago. Gas prices are high, like bills are high. So when somebody actually spends the money, then you need to respect the fact that they worked really hard to get that money to pay you.
Make it worth it. So you know what? We're going to call this the end of segment 1, and we'll be back in a little bit. I'm going to stop this, and if we get cut off, I'll send you another link in a couple minutes. But you know what? You guys keep doing what you're doing. I like it. And 1 second.